Hey guys, welcome back to Andertons TV.
Hola.
The beautiful and very talented Danish Pete from Holland accompanies me today as we attempt to shoot out and answer the question on everybody's lips. Which is best out of the Acoustasonic trio? Is it the Telecaster, the Stratocaster, or the Jazzmaster?
The Jazzmaster.
Jazzmaster.
And if the Jazzmaster was here today himself...
who is the Jazzmaster?
Who is the Jazzmaster?
Joe Pass?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of you know, B-board, Al Di Meola, Pat Metheny. I mean, there's a lot of those guys.
If any of them were here right now,
Yeah.
they would say, please like and subscribe to this channel.
Remember to wear a mask as
hit
well.
that notification bell, and then we'll annoy you every day with a new video.
Every single day, and you're like,
pretty
I'm going
much.
to turn that back off again. Right
So,
now.
well, look, Pete, you are holding the goat.
The
original,
the OG,
not the goat, the OG.
The OG, yeah. Because that's what we were trying to find out, isn't it? Which one is the...
Which one is the goat?
Which one is the
Goatacaster.
Yeah, the Goatacaster.
The acoustic goat.
So when we did this, when did we did the video? Back 2 years ago, was it now?
2019, man. Yeah, beginning of 2019.
Yeah, when that Fender launched the Telecaster shape, and we did the video on it, which was really successful. I mean, that was down to Lee's beautiful smile, of course. That we had almost 1 million views now. I think 800,000 something, maybe 900,000.
That's
views.
almost
But
a million.
thank you very much. That's all down to you. And I was really impressed with it. I mean, there was a lot of people going, "Oh no, what is it? What is it? I don't get it." But I get it. I think it's really cool. And this is the Telecaster they came out with. I mean, there's not much to say. If you want to go back and watch that video, you can click the pop-up banner there. But it was...
Well, I was going to say, so what Fender have done over the last 3 years is taken the basic concept of this effectively a hollow electric guitar.
Yeah.
With a mahogany, sort of a carved out mahogany back and sides, but then with like a solid spruce top laid over the top. So very much a kind of an acoustic guitar construction, but on an electric guitar kind of body shape and body depth.
Yeah, you got the bracing and everything, and the spruce top and all of that different jazz.
So you've now got between the three, you've got three visually quite different looking guitars. A little different to play, albeit that the neck carve is the same on all three. So it's really just things like maybe its natural balance and up round the heel joint that perhaps starts to feel different between the three. Yeah. But the main difference between the three is the modelling that they use on the acoustic sounds is slightly different on all three. So the technology, the engine, if you like, that drives the technology is much the same, but they're just voicing it differently. They say, and this is quite interesting, they say that what they've done is they've tried to match the way they've modelled the acoustics to the natural sort of different resonance of each guitar. So perhaps what we should do first is just go, what does it sound like acoustically?
I was just about to say, what does it do when you just strum a G chord? And a C.
And you're using a pick there, Mr. Pete?
Yeah, I'm using a pick.
Okay, so I've got a pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be you might have to do this because otherwise it's the plectrum, but that sounded very different to me.
Yeah, and then this is a Stratocaster. I think it sounds slightly thinner than that one.
I would agree.
That's slightly fuller.
By the way, you're just hearing the lapel mic on Pete at the moment.
On me. Lapel on me.
So obviously it's not exactly where you'd put a microphone if you wanted to mic one of these, but I don't think that's the intention.
Here's the Jazzmaster. Funny, that's more like this. That seems more like that.
Go between these two.
This is fuller. It's fuller. But the body size, it is a bigger body size, so you would expect that.
That was the main reason, I think, when we launched these, and certainly speaking to Fender, I think actually the main reason they were excited about the Jazzmaster wasn't so much that it was perhaps the sort of the quirky offset body shape that might attract another customer. It was more the fact that it was a bigger surface area, and so it changed the sound of the guitar to be a bit more acousticy.
Yeah. I can hear that. I mean,
Yes.
there's no getting away from that.
So your sort of bass tone, before it's gone through any of the cleverness, is perhaps a little bit bigger on the Jazzmaster. And then the sound between the Strat and the Tele was pretty marginal, wasn't it? I mean, do you want to give it a strum again?
Okay, let's do it.
There's a bit more bass in, isn't it? Do you know what? I mean, you know what's freaky about that is potentially we're literally talking about this piece of surface area here that's missing effectively on the Strat and here on the Tele. Because if you look at the way the controls are mounted and the pickup and everything, I know the positioning of them is slightly different on the Strat, but the number of holes drilled in the top is pretty much identical.
And all that's slightly different.
The cavity
my cavity is slightly different on all three, isn't it? So.
But okay, so that's your kind of your bass tone, and I guess
who would use it? Who would use? Sorry to interrupt, but who would use it? Just like the sofa.
Yeah.
Then
I'm not sure that it's the kind of guitar that you're certainly not doing anything professional with it unplugged. You might be noodling, that's
you might come up with ideas for songs and stuff, I took this on for the weekend just to play it for the pigeons like in the garden. They keep going, please play for us. And yeah, I mean the shape, we'll talk about that in a minute, but
yeah.
I would definitely prefer to plug it in just a little bit.
Beyond the acoustic and the sort of aesthetic and the feel difference between the three, we then get into the electrics, and all three have some commonalities and they have some differences as well, which we'll plug in and have a listen to in a minute. So they're all using a 5-way blade. The first control is always a volume control, and the second control is always blending between a certain sound all the way up and a certain sound all the way down, and then sort of anything you like in between. Now the 5 positions on each guitar are bringing out different sounds, so there could be different types of acoustic they're modelling or different types of electric guitar simulations. So there are differences that we go into more detail on the differences in the individual videos that we do, and of course you can read about them on the website if you want to. So I think probably for now we should just have a listen.
We should.
You can see the Strat and the Tele are both using a single coil in conjunction with the body sensor, the piezo, and the digital modelling going on inside. The Jazzmaster is using a humbucker in conjunction with all those things. So again, some slightly different tones, particularly on the electric guitar stuff. So Pete, where do you want to just sort of like...
I think we'll just start with position 5 and then go on position 5A, and then I'll just play a bit of chords and then we'll see what the difference are.
I think the other interesting part of this video is Pete and I do have a favourite out of these, and they're different. As in, I like one model the best and Pete likes a different model the best, and that will probably become apparent as we play. But do you want to plug the Tele in?
Let's do it.
And let's get like a position A. Tele or Strat you going for?
I'll start with the Tele.
We are using a little 3-into-1 box. Interestingly, slightly differently in this video, I believe, certainly to the Jazzmaster video and possibly the other ones we did as well. We're now just plugging these guitars direct into our interface, so we're not using any kind of acoustic guitar amp, preamp or anything like that. So I guess this is the purest that you can hear one of these guitars.
It's like a lotus flower opening up
on
a spring there.
That is pure.
If that's when they open up.
They do.
So anyway, I'm going to go position 5 and then all the way down, which is position A, right? So it's a bit counterintuitive. That should be A to me and that should be B, but A. So now I'll set the switches here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play... We're going to cut it so you hear me play position 1, and we'll annotate on the screen what sort of guitar type it is, and that's it. So here we go.
Okay, everybody, it's decision time now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, as you went through the acoustic sounds,
Yeah.
I just think they all sounded very similar.
I don't.
Okay, so I didn't. The only real sound out of everything that I went, oh yeah, they've really voiced that differently, was that very last one, where there's just a lot more gain on the Jazzmaster than there is on the Strat and the Tele.
It's almost like not very much gain on the electric, and then more gain, and then just, you know.
Maybe that's the humbucker.
Yeah, maybe it is. And also, I noticed on position 2 that there was much more gain in this on position 2 for some reason. So there's almost like 3, where this one, I know on position 2, it's an electric, and it's an acoustic, like that you blend the electric pickup into, where that's not the case with these two. So I think they are so different that I think you could potentially have all 3 of them if you had. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Good salesman.
But you know,
you're only allowed one, Pete. Obviously,
okay.
You're not only allowed one, but in this particular exercise, we're calling it out there. You've got to pick one.
I would pick the Telecaster, and I think for me, there's more than just it's also a feel thing when I play it, because this feels to me like the neck is very long because of the shape of the body.
Yeah.
I'm not so keen on the way the Strat looks, and I'm saying they missed an opportunity to put a tone control on it, because that would have been great and very different from the other 3. I know you don't probably have a tone control on your acoustic guitar, but sometimes you actually do inside, you know, if you have a pickup. So that's my. But the Telecaster for me has got as much gain as I need if I were to do an electric solo. It's got the electric sound that I really like from that, and then the middle position where you've got there's a rosewood thing, and you blend it in with the pickup. For me, that sounds best. I appreciate what you're doing with those things, but I'm still old school, and I'll grab that. How about you?
I think I had more of a leaning towards the Jazzmaster before we did this video, and I've almost come out the end of it sort of going, I think I'd just choose it on the one I like the look of best now. I honestly don't think there's enough difference.
It's not a bad shout.
In the sounds.
No, it's how you feel when you sit with it.
Yeah, I just
Try
think
to sit with that. Just sit with it.
If I had to go purely visually, there's something about putting the hole in the middle of the Strat that upsets me. And actually, but for whatever reason on the Tele and the Jazzmaster it doesn't. So I'm kind of, but it's such a personal thing. It doesn't really matter what I think.
I think for me also it's not just a visual thing, but because at the end of the day, when you're playing it, you're not really looking down on what you're playing. You know, I think it's how you feel. And when I had this home, as much as I like the sounds in it, and I think that is my problem. Look, that. So for me, where Telecaster,
okay, so Tele doesn't. Yeah, Tele's very balanced. Yeah. Let me just try the Strat.
Yeah. I'll unplug that as well. Oh.
Strat is actually. I mean, it's not as well balanced as the Tele, as in just purely not tone wise and just.
And then that. So for me, and I think the Tele's lighter.
Yeah. Okay. So there's much more of a headstock dive on the Jazzmaster. I like the sound of it acoustically. I mean, again, I know that's not the point.
No, then just.
But it's substantially fuller sounding acoustically than the other two.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this whole neck dive thing. I understand the principle of, guitar players sort of saying that a guitar does it, but it's almost a bit like you don't play guitar like that, do you? You play guitar with one hand here. So what's the, are you?
What if you're standing on stage and want to go, come on everybody, clap your hands, and your guitar goes rip down like that?
And there is the difference between Pete and I. I've got it now, right? So if you are standing on stage going, come on everybody, in front of 90,000 people.
And you clap your hands like this.
You need a guitar
and the
guitar
goes,
that.
It goes wall up, down like that.
If you have no concept of that.
And then the strap falls off down here, and then it's up on the floor.
And you just sit and play like I'm playing now. I don't think that that's got any bearing at all, but
it's a bigger body.
I don't know, I honestly, just visually speaking,
it looks cool.
I like the Jazzmaster the best of the three.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought you went through those acoustic tones, and I know they're all modelled on, bigger guitars, smaller guitars, different, woods, all that kind of. But it doesn't feel to me like there's enough difference that a little bit of EQ couldn't make. Okay, I'll add a bit more bass in there, I'll take a bit more bass end away there. It doesn't feel to me like they're so radically different that you couldn't get a much the same sound out of all three of them.
Which means that you are buying visually, which one you like best.
I think I'm buying visually on this. What about you?
Yeah,
I mean, interestingly, because what you're hearing is, especially if you're listening through headphones, you're hearing the DI into the preamp. We're hearing probably a slightly different tone because we're in quite a big room and we've got bigger speakers further away from us. Yeah. So you might be sitting there going, Lee, I don't know,
what are you talking about?
Radical difference between two. And perhaps for recording, perhaps there is.
And maybe even the level thing that I was talking about, where the levels are slightly different, because it seems like this one was slightly less volumey. But listening back to it, when we go back and listen, it might be completely different. I guarantee it will be, because it always is. You always go, you play something, go, oh, that sounds really good. Oh, that's a bit, and then you come in the room and you start mixing it, and then it's.
So. Did we prove anything? So you've gone Tele, I've gone Jazzmaster. Hopefully some of you are, keep shouting the Strat corner. It's a shame we can't do polls on YouTube, isn't it? Just like who wins.
Can we? We can do some kind of
poll.
poll
On Instagram. Yeah, maybe, if it's possible, we'll link below to just a poll about what's your favourite. So not colour, just literally which, if you had to go Strat, Tele or Jazzmaster, what would you go for? And then, who knows? We'll publish the results another time.
Yeah, that's great.
So, but there we are. Yeah.
There we are. They're all cool.
Thanks for watching. Links below if you want to buy one and haven't already. You can get them from Andertons if you want to, or any Fender dealer if you don't live in the UK.
I know one thing that I've seen when I posted these pictures. I know Fender was kind of that you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Jazzmaster the other day when they came out. But people going, I can't see what I'm going to use that for. Where I was like, well, you can use it if you're a professional musician for sessions, even if you're plugging straight in to do some recording on a track or whatever. As a touring musician, it's a great tool. I had loads of things, and people say, oh, it's so expensive, 1,600 quid or whatever. It's super expensive. And then I'm like, well, it's made in America. It's made like an acoustic guitar, which goes much more effort goes into building a top and putting the bracing on and doing these little rounded bits and all the electronics inside. There's so
look. how expensive something is purely relative to how much money you've got.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like there's no such thing as a guitar that's too expensive. There's only a guitar that you either can or you can't afford. So that's really all it is.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? I mean, it's absolutely in line price-wise with what other American instruments cost. So
that's what I was saying.
I guess the issue that probably does resonate with me, and I do have some degree of empathy with these comments, is it's not going to be the best electric guitar that you own, and it's not going to be the best acoustic guitar that you own.
No.
Or could own, perhaps I should say. You know, if you've got
I agree.
An American, original Tele, or you've got a Martin D18, some, you're naturally. So I kind of get that. It's a tool that does both jobs pretty well. And if you're in an environment where you want one instrument to do both things pretty well, then this is great. Yeah. It's what it is. You're not going to be recording your next album going, I want to put an electric guitar track down on here. Shall I use my, 59 Les Paul or my 61 Strat or my Tele Deluxe, or my Acoustasonic? You're not. No. But maybe when you were writing that track, maybe you were sat there going, what is it? Is this a country tune or is this more of a rock tune? Yeah. And does it need this and does it need that? And certainly if you're live and you do gigs like Pete did
it would have been a
lifesaver.
This would have been a lifesaver for a lot of the pop gigs I've done.
Because it looks so cool.
It looks cool, it's light, and
exactly.
It's light to walk around with. It's the compactness of on stage. You walk around with a big dreadnought guitar, so it looks cool, but as a session musician, it's just a pain.
Yeah. So again, I have some empathy for the comments. I mean, without a doubt, any guitar at £1,600 is, a considered purchase.
Absolutely.
And if there was a Mexican version of this and it had a very similar set of electronics in it and all of a sudden it's half the price, of course it opens it up and it makes that decision about do I want that or not twice as easy to make because it's half the price, I suppose. But yeah, who knows? And I'm sure the crazy thing at Fender, and I know this for an absolute fact, is then they can't build enough of these to satisfy how many people want them. Yeah. So why would they even try and build one that was half the price to then find that they can't, they're even more difficult to keep up with demand.
That's the thing, isn't it?
But one day, people, who knows? One day I'm sure, people
there won't be a Squire 120 quid version of it. I mean, there won't be a Squire Bullet. But you can't put all of this electronics in there for that and a pickup and all that stuff.
But I bet you one day there's a Mexican version. I mean, whether it's next year, year after, or 10 years down the line.
I want to see a relic one, Lee. That's what I want to see. I want to see a.
I want to see more like they did for Jack White. like really funky graphics and stuff.
Yeah, but you can. This is. I mean, if you're a cool graphic designer, just do something. Put a Put your own thing on it. Anyway,
right, that's it. We've rambled much enough. We're not going to jam out here because what we're going to do is some sort of silly outtake video after the end clip. So anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Pete!
Yes, Lee?
Did you see our Fender Acoustasonic social media takeover the other day?
I did. It was really good.
Did you see how many girls started watching when Declan McKenna came on?
I did, actually.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
look at this infographic on screen now. It's ridiculous.
It's this one.
I mean, how many girls do you think watch when you or I are on? Let's turn that on. Hang on a second. Can we put that on the screen now? How many girls are watching now?
That's not good, is it?
What has he got that we haven't got? I mean, he's good looking, right?
He's good looking. He's young.
Well, and he's talented.
He's talented.
But I can play it. You know what I think it is?
No.
Do you know what I think it is?
No.
Mullets!